In this presentation, we will explain the various cutting methods of Wagyu beef used in Japan to make the most efficient use of this high-quality meat. This is the top round. First, remove the top round cap from the top round. This is the top round and its cap. Next, remove the sinew and fat from its surface. Then separate it into the sartorius and pectineus muscles. Then cut it into blocks so that it can be used in yakiniku and Chinese pepper steak. In addition, it can be sliced and used as rolled meat. This is the pectineus. It contains a part Japanese refer to as the megane. Be sure to shape the blood vessels in it neatly. It is cut into blocks for steak, diced steak, and yakiniku. It can also be sliced and steamed in a basket. Trim the top round cap by removing the sinew and fat from its surface and the sinew on the reverse side. Slice it so it can be used in beef bowl. This part is the knuckle. First, separate it into the tri-tip and knuckle muscle. Here is the tri-tip and the knuckle muscle. Remove the connective tissue from the surface of the tri-tip, insert your knife at an angle, and cut it into two parts. You can cut it into blocks for yakiniku or slice it for shabu-shabu. The knuckle muscle is separated into the inside knuckle muscle, knuckle main muscle, and outside knuckle muscle. After removing the fat and sinew on the surface, insert your knife between the knuckle main muscle and inside knuckle muscle on the tri-tip side. Then separate the inside knuckle muscle along the sinew on the knuckle main muscle side. These parts of the knuckle muscle are called the inside knuckle muscle, the knuckle main muscle, and the outside knuckle muscle. Trim the inside knuckle muscle by removing the sinew and fat. Cut it into blocks for barbecue and diced steak, or you can slice it for use in beef bowl. Next, we will separate the knuckle main muscle. Insert the knife from the outside knuckle muscle side and cut along the sinew. To trim the knuckle main muscle, separate it into two along the center sinew. Then remove the center sinew and cut into blocks for yakiniku. You can also cut it into thick blocks for use as steak or slice it for shabu-shabu. This is the outside knuckle muscle. Turn the outside knuckle muscle into a retail cut by removing the sinew and connective tissue on surface. The portion to the front of the screen is tough, so you have to cut into slender blocks along the fold. Cut the outside knuckle muscle into slender blocks for use as small steaks and for yakiniku. You can also slice it for shabu-shabu and hot pot cooking. This part is called the top sirloin. It is divided into the top sirloin cap, sirloin butt, gluteus medius muscle, piriformis muscle or Pope's eye, and the gluteus profundus muscle. First, divide the top sirloin cap and sirloin butt along the fascia and fat. On the left side is the sirloin butt, and the top sirloin cap is on the right. Remove the fat and sinew from the top sirloin cap and cut along the sinew on the bottom round side. The meat quality on the bottom round side is tough and is cut for other types of cooking not mentioned yet. Slice it for shabu-shabu and sukiyaki. You can also cut it into slender blocks for yakiniku. Here we have the sirloin butt. Remove the sinew from its surface first, and then trim it. Next, remove the gluteus medius. Then continue trimming. This is the piriformis muscle or Pope's eye, which you will now remove. Take away the sinew from its surface. The piriformis muscle is suited for yakiniku and diced steak. Next, separate the sirloin butt and the gluteus profundus muscle along the center sinew. Remove the center sinew and horizontal sinew at the lower part. Cut it into blocks for use in roast beef and steaks, or slice it for sukiyaki and beef stroganoff. This is called the bottom round, and we will divide it into 4 cuts. First, separate the heel from the bottom round. Trim the fat on the heel and separate the flexor digitorum supercilius muscle from it. Cut away the eye of the round from the bottom round. The outside flat will be left. This part is the eye of round. Eye of round is much tougher than it looks, so you have to shape it after removing the connective tissue and fat from its surface. Eye of round is best suited for shabu-shabu and yakiniku. This is the outside flat. Separate it into 2 pieces where the meat folds differ. It is sliced into large pieces to be used as rolled meat. This is the heel. This is the flexor digitorum supercilius muscle. Trim the heel by removing the membrane, heavy sinew, inner sinew, and fat from its surface. If you remove the flexor digitorum supercilius muscle, there is a tender part which is good for yakiniku, or you can slice it for beef bowl and hot pot. On the left is the foreshank, and the hind shank is on the right. Both are shaped in the same way by first removing the heavy sinew from its surface and trimmed by removing the fat. Remove the sinew on the surface and on the reverse side. Bull shanks are suited for use in minced beef, red wine stew, and tomato stew.